Hello friends, this is Vivek Babele and today we will discuss about gear manufacturing. So basically gear manufacturing refers to the making of gears. Gears can be manufactured by a variety of processes including casting, forging, extrusion, powder metallurgy and blanking. As a general rule, however, machining is applied to achieve the final dimensions, shape and surface finish in the gear. The initial operations that produce a semi-finishing part ready for gear machining is referred to as blanking operation. The starting product in gear machining is called a gear blank. So first thing is the selection of materials. The gear material should have the following properties, which is high tensile strength to prevent failure against static loads, then high endurance strength to withstand dynamic loads, low coefficient of friction and good manufacturability. Gear manufacturing processes are divided in many parts, but some important processes are there. There are multiple ways in which gear blanks can be shaped through the cutting and finishing processes. That is gear forming, form milling, broaching. A general introduction, or we can say the definition of these processes are number one, gear forming. In gear form cutting, the cutting edge of the cutting tool has a shape identical with the shape of the space between the gear teeth. Two machining operations, milling and broaching, can be employed to form cut gear teeth. Next is form milling. In form milling, the cutter called a form cutter travels axially along the length of the gear tooth at the appropriate depth to produce the gear tooth. After each tooth is cut, the cutter is withdrawn, the gear blank is rotated, and the cutter proceeds to cut another tooth. The process continues until all teeth are cut. Next process is broaching. Broaching can also be used to produce gear teeth and is particularly applicable to internal teeth. The process is rapid and produces fine surface finish with high dimensional accuracy. However, because broaches are expensive and a separate broach is required for each size of gear, this method is suitable mainly for high quantity production. How the gear can be generated? So in gear generating, the tooth flanks are obtained as an outline of the subsequent position of the cutter, which resembles in shape the mating gear in the gear pair. There are two machining processes employed, shaping and milling. There are several modifications of these processes for different cutting tool used. Gear hobbing is a machining process in which gear teeth are progressively generated by a series of cuts with a helical cutting tool. All motions in hobbing are rotary, and the hob and gear blank rotate continuously as in two gears meshing until all teeth are cut. Finishing operations of gears are like as produced by any of the process described. The surface finish and dimensional accuracy may not be accurate enough to certain applications. Several finishing operations are available, including the conventional process of saving and a number of abrasive operations, including grinding, honing, and lapping. Some design considerations which can be considered and which should be considered in the design of gears is the accuracy of the output of a gear depends on the accuracy of its design and manufacturing. The correct manufacturing of a gear requires a number of prerequisite calculations and design considerations. The design considerations taken into account before manufacturing of gears are strength of the gear in order to avoid failure at starting torques or under dynamic loading during running conditions. Gear teeth must have good wear characteristics, selection of material combination, proper alignment and compactness of drive, and provision of adequate and proper lubrication arrangement. So this is a general introduction about gear manufacturing. We can discuss in detail in several lectures, but this is a general introduction. Please have a look and like it. Thank you very much.